What's up, guys? Your favorite Player One, Richard here, back on the road, this time in Rossville, Tennessee, doing another bourbon hunt. Now, Rossville is a rural town here in Tennessee that is quickly booming, and it has a really cool store in the Skybox Wine and Spirit. Now, like I said, it is a bit off the beaten path, and because of that, a lot of these really cool bottles just sit on the shelf, just prime and ready for the picking. So I've already been inside. I have a clue as far as what is in there. Let's go inside and see what cool bottles they have inside. Right when you walk in, head to the back and straight to your left, and you are going to come up to their very large whiskey selection. Now we're going to do what we normally do and take a look at the top shelf. Now, the first thing that I noticed was going to be this decanter as well as the shotgun shell looking bottle that's to its left. Now, I love a cool decanter. Unfortunately, I don't have anywhere to keep it, but really what intrigued me was that bottle that is to its left, that shotgun shell. Now, I've passed over this many times before and never realized that it is actually an American single malt. Now, I read that it was distilled in, I believe, Oregon, and then it was imported by somewhere else. So if that is something that you are into, really cool looking bottles, then that might be something that you want to add to your collection. Now we're going to go ahead and just move over right along to my right and look at some of the other top shelf items. Now we are going to skip over stuff that we typically see in the area, so no Whistle Pig, but really what has caught my eye is this old Overholt cast strength straight rye whiskey. Now it is aged 12 years and has a proof point of 117. Right next to it is last year's Blue Note Special Reserve. It looks like they only have one, so if you want to grab it, they have it here. Now I've heard that it was really good. I believe Brendan over at Whiskey Weather said it was one of his favorite bottles from last year. So tons of different finishes that were all blended together. 116.3 proof. Definitely a bottle to get. I only see one. Snag it while you can, because I believe this year's Special Reserve should be hitting stores sometime soon. Now, moving right along, if you're looking for that Heritage Barrel Toasted that everybody was talking about last year, they have one here. $79.99 is one of the better prices that I've seen in the area, and it looks like they have several. So if you are in the Rossville area or looking for a store in the surrounding Memphis area, come on out to Skybox. Now, what would be a liquor store without some really cool Willet bottles? They have a purple top and a green top. Both of these are 12 years old. Looks like the purple top is 118.6 proof, while that rye, the green top, is 122.8. Now, of course, with that higher age statement, you are going to pay a little bit more for each of those bottles. Both of these are sitting here at $500. Now we have some Bardstown. There are still a few of those Disco 13s around town. They have some of them here, as well as that Fernand, which is that cognac finish that was released last year. Now, I haven't seen many of these in the Memphis area, so of course we have that Garrison Brothers. Balmore, I believe is how you pronounce that. Getting a little bit better with those names, my Texas friends. $200. Which is, I think, pretty close to what you're going to pay if you find it at least outside of Texas. Oop, moving a little too fast because something else caught my eye. I saw Doc Martinez recently do a review on this one, the Barrel Cigar Blend. $85, 111.2 proof. I love a good cigar blend. They typically lean a little bit more towards the sweeter side, which is something that I favor. Looking at the bottle itself, though, it does say that, oh, thank goodness. I thought it said something about Amberana. I was going to have to pass on it for sure if that were the case. Our friends down south in Jackson, Mississippi, a couple of different Old Soul bottles that they have here. Several Old Elk. I mentioned I love a good cigar blend. They have that punch cut cigar sitting up here on this top shelf, just waiting for you to grab it. And of course, they have another decanter. We have two Calumet's We have the decanter and then that 18. And finishing out the top shelf, several different Heaven Hills from the 2025 release. We have the limited as well as just the standard grain to glass series. Oh, of course, one more cigar blend. They got that Joseph Magnus for $210. All right, one thing that I do want to point out are these 2 bottles of Old Fourth Distillery. Now, I keep seeing these every time I see Short Barrel, and I believe that they are either the same distillery or there's some connection between the two, but they have 2 different offerings. Both are bottled in bond. It looks like one is just their standard offering for $54.99, and then if you want that 10-year age statement, then you're going to pay a little bit more, of course, for $95.99. Now, they do have plenty of Redwood Empire. I've heard lots of good things about this Pipe Bomb Toasted. This is the triple finish, and that's a good price if this is good as everybody says. $57.99 here. Now, one of the first stores that I came across when I started to explore Frey Ranch that had a store pick was this one. Now, this is just their uncut cast strength, but they did have a Tennessee store pick when they first opened. Now, we've mentioned Peerless in a couple of stores, and for this being in a remote area, this amount of Peerless here is just unfathomable. They do have a high rye, the double oaked rye small batch, and then of course toasted, double oaked, and small batch of the bourbons. I can't believe it. This is one of the things that I was absolutely looking for, and that is the honey hole of Pursuit. Anything that you want, they have here on their shelves. They have the standard 108 offerings of the bourbon and the rye, twice toasted. They have the let's see here, blended straight bourbon whiskeys finished and toasted. I believe this was actually the original twice toasted. Once you see these labels, you won't see them anymore. They've moved over to these newer bottles, so grab these while you can. They have the double oak, the triple mash bourbon barrel proof. My bottle that I picked up from Cheers, holy crap, absolutely amazing. Theirs is 118.8 proof. I think mine is like 120. Just, it doesn't matter what the proof is. Absolute banger there. And then I had a sample of this not too long ago, their triple mash rye barrel proof, 125.8. This one is this one is coming home with me. Only went through 2 sets of shelves, and there's still more to come. Just absolute bangers. More of these single barrels that we started to see last year. They have OBSK, OBSF, and oh, that's another OBSF. Now, right beside it, again, you know that I tend to be a sucker for a cool label, but in this case, they have a cool topper. This is Bushwood Long Ball, bottled in bond, 7-year single barrel. Now, that's a really cool golf ball topper, and conveniently, I believe at the time that I'm filming this, Augusta is either happening or has just happened. Now, this does say that it is aged and bottled at Bushwood Spirits in Stanford, Kentucky. I've never heard of it before, but definitely have a really cool looking bottle here. Another thing that caught my eye on this shelf is another one of our hometown favorites. They have so many of the blue notes. Don't sleep on the uncut, unfiltered, one of my personal favorites here. Cast strength, this particular bottle is 117.8 proof. Same thing here with the rye, unfiltered single barrel, 117.7 proof. But this is the one that just hit the market. That is the wheated bourbon. Now, this is new this year. I got to try it at the distillery not too long ago. You are definitely going to want to pick up this bottle, and especially for that price point, $45.99, 101 proof. Definitely a bottle for you to check out. Now, what are y'all doing here? Skybox, you'll have two of my favorite things side by side. You have Old Dominic here, the whole lineup. If you've been watching the channel, you know that the cast strength is my favorite, 120.6 proof. Now, this is really cool because they tend to put out bottles that are dedicated to different organizations in the area. Most recently, they did one for Overton Square. They've done the Memphis Fire Department, and then, of course, our beloved Memphis Police Department. These are limited. It looks like they only have 4 left on the shelf for $80. Still looking for that Leaper's fork? Well, they have several offerings here for you. Both are bottled in bond, these two right here. I believe you can tell based on the color of the label what type of whiskey is in here. This is going to be their bourbon whiskey, while this darker, richer color, almost maroon, is their Tennessee whiskey. Same is true with these different M-Town brown volumes. My good friend Wesley was kind of to tell me that if you just look at the label here, the little packaging, that tells you what kind of whiskey is in the bottle. This release, volume 3, is going to be a Tennessee whiskey. Now, let's see here. Right now it is 118.6 proof for $98. Now, I'm going to point out something that I don't typically do, and that is this blank space here. Now, you might be asking, why are you just pointing out a blank space? Because of the cool thing that is going to be showing up tomorrow, which will probably be a week from today when this video pops out. And that is, we are going to be getting, we being Skybox, 4 different SKUs of Still Austin. That's right, if you live in the Memphis or surrounding Memphis area, Still Austin from Austin, Texas is finally hitting our area, and that is what this blank space is going to be used for. So definitely come out to Skybox and grab you some Still Austin when it is on the shelf. Now, I would kick myself if I skipped over that and that would be a Larrikin. Now, they have several of their different offerings here. It looks like they have 4 along with their maple bourbon cream. Now, it might be a little bit harder to see because of the lighting, but they have the small batch, the American maple, the American light whiskey, and the cigar blend. Now, I've had, I think 2 of the 3, maybe all 3 before. Out of these, this is my favorite. Now, you're gonna pay a little bit more because it is a hazmat 143.6 proof, 7-year age statement, single barrel for $101.99, but that's going to be pretty much on par with what you will find in most Memphis stores. And then you have that cigar blend here. This place is just jam-packed with amazing cigar blends. Right next to it, Wyoming whiskey. Starting to see this pretty much everywhere that we're going. Still haven't picked up a bottle for myself yet, but they do have some here if that's what you're looking for. Talking about things that we're starting to see in more stores here, we have the Ben Holiday. Now, this is the soft red wheat Rick House proof. This is 121.4. They do change out their releases every year. You can tell what release it is by up here on the little neck tag. This is from April of 2025. And what I really appreciate about these is all the information that they include on their sticker. And if you go to their website, they have a ton more information about the whole process that the master distiller goes through to decide what goes in that bottle. It's really, really cool. All of the Penelope. They have these 2 from their toasted series, their toasted rye and their toasted bourbon. Now, we have F Cancer here. I don't see this in too many places, and that is the cast strength. And what's really cool is both of these are about the same price. Let's see what the cast strength, does it say what the proof is it? This one is 114.6 proof. One of the few stores also that carries that Maplewood Spirals 13 colonies, $58.99. Now, I mentioned earlier before about that Old Fourth Distillery and being linked to Short Barrel. Well, here is your Short Barrel. They have the 4 grain. I've heard good things about this, still haven't tried it yet. The small batch, the Rye 101, and then the one that everybody in our area is currently talking about, and that is the Sapsquatch. 102.6 proof for $93.99. They have 4 of them, so if you missed out in the Memphis area, come on out to Skybox and pick you up a Sapsquatch from here. Now, I will typically skim over Russell's, but I did see this single barrel here. Now, I've had one before that was from Warehouse Tyrone, absolutely loved it. Well, this guy, I'm seeing CND, which I'm hoping is going to be the Nelson, I think it's Nelson, warehouse. So definitely, I don't see the Nelson one or that C&D very often in our area. So they definitely have that here. I think most places have the Tyrone. All right, moving right along. Look, there's still some more of that E.H. Taylor just sitting here. Now, I talked to some friends that were in the Alabama area probably a couple of weeks ago, and they were just saying that they can't even get it in their area just because of the state-controlled allocation. So y'all need to go ahead and just head up the road a few miles, come out to Tennessee and see us. We have it in just droves sitting out here. Old Glory, bottled in bond, and their maple cream sitting here, just prime for the taking. Come on out and grab you a bottle. Now, right here on this barrel, they do have some other really cool exclusive bottles. They do have several different private selects from Four Roses. Now, this one is really cool. It's Franklin Distillery Single Barrel Aged 13 Whiskey. Now, you might be saying, well, what's so special about that? And that is because this distillery only makes vodka and gin. This was meant to be an experimental barrel. They tried to get something passed and it failed. And so I'm not sure exactly how this came about. Has a really interesting mash bill, 84% corn, 8% rye, 8% malted barley. Proof point of 101.2, 13 years, 91.99. Definitely don't want to sleep on that one. And then, of course, with the Kentucky Derby being right around the corner, they have this Larrikin Run of the Roses 9-year. It does have a lower proof, which is 80.99 for the bottle, but that's about what you're going to end up paying for a Larrikin anyway. Last but not least, we have their clearance section. And one of the things that's on here I am very excited about, not because it's on clearance, but because at least it's in the area, and that is Cedar Ridge. Now, this is something that I've been begging my good friend Randall over at Off Topic Whiskey for all the time. He sent me some samples of their single malt, but the fact that we are getting at least some of their bourbon in here hopefully opens the door to getting some American single malt from these guys. Last couple things that they have here, a couple Isaac Bowmans, Bowman Brothers, and then that Green River rye right here. All right, with the Kentucky Derby right around the corner, they have a couple of the limited release 1 liter bottles here for $56.99, and sitting right next to it, also a collector's edition, is going to be this Fireball whiskey, 66 proof, $25 for 1.75 liters. That is a heck of a deal. Now, one of the things that I want to point out is going to be their store picks. Now, as I'm heading over to this display, I do want to point out one of the few bottles of their makers that they have left. Now, when this store first opened, this was their very first barrel pick. I've heard lots of positive feedback from those that are in the community. They have a handful of these left on the shelf, so definitely come by and pick up one. Now, their second store pick that they've done has been this Knob Creek cask strength, 125.7 proof. Only a handful of these left. It looks like it is a 10-year, bottled in April 11th of last year. Like I mentioned before, just a handful of these guys left, so definitely grab one. Now, something really cool that is coming here soon is going to be their store pick from Buffalo Trace. I believe it will be probably in about a month or so. And right along with it is going to be they are getting 2 different offerings of the White Dog from Buffalo Trace. So definitely come by and pick yourself up a bottle. One last thing that we're going to show you, and that is the Crack the Code container here. Now, if you purchase any of their store picks, whether that is the Makers, the Knob Creek, that future Buffalo Trace bottle, then you have an opportunity to try your hand at this 4-digit lock here on the side. And if you crack it, you're able to purchase whatever is in this particular container. Right now, it is the barrel proof, uncut, unfiltered Colonel E.H. Taylor bottle for $129.99. Now, as you saw, there's several different store picks there for you to grab, so definitely come out and get one and get your chance to score this barrel proof E.H. Taylor. Guys, well, I will definitely consider that to be a successful hunt here at Skybox Wine and Spirits, located in Rossville, Tennessee. Tons of really cool things. They have the whole lineup, or almost the whole lineup, of Pursuit United, tons of Peerless, other bottles there, that weeded blue note, all out here in Rossville, just prime and waiting for you to come and purchase it. Plus, they have amazing store picks, that Buffalo Trace store pick coming up real soon. And you get an opportunity to crack the code to see if you can pick up that barrel proof E.H. Taylor. So a lot to love about this store. Now, you know that I like to purchase a bottle as a way of saying thank you to the store for letting me film, and today is not the exception to that. And I picked up the bottle that I said I was going to grab, and that is this Pursuit United barrel strength rye. Now, my good friend Leighton over at Leighton Liquor Library allowed me to try a pour of his. Absolutely amazing. I like to consider this to be the bourbon drinker's rye, and at that proof point of, I believe it was 125, definitely something I'm looking forward to getting into. All right, guys, well, I appreciate you sticking until the end on another bourbon hunt. Come out and check out Skybox Wine and Spirits. I'm your favorite player one, Richard. Have a good one.